Hi everyone, this is Kathy from Kathy's Vegan Kitchen, and today we're going to make stuffed portobello mushrooms with summer vegetables. And if you see here, I have 2 packages of organic portobello mushrooms. When you get these from the store, you want to keep them in the packaging. They store better that way, or you want to put them in a paper bag. But don't undo them and just leave them in the fridge because they get slimy. So we're going to open these up, and first what we have to do is we have to clean them out, get rid of the stem and the gills. So I'm going to carefully remove the stem so I don't rip through the mushroom. And then using a spoon, I'm going to go around the edges, and I'm going to remove all the gills that are inside and create a hole for my stuffing to go. You're going to get all of that out of there. You just want to be careful not to go all the way through the mushroom or break the mushroom, because that's not a good idea, because then you lose your little vessel or it cracks and it doesn't look as pretty. Okay, when it's done, it looks like this. And you're going to place it opening side down on a baking sheet. And I'm going to do the rest. Okay, all the mushrooms are cleaned out, and I put them all facing down on a baking sheet with a silicone baking mat. Now what you want to do is you're going to put these in a 300-degree oven for just 15 minutes. We're going to pre-bake them, and the reason that we do that is because mushrooms have a lot of water in them, and you really want to release some of the water before we cook them with the stuffing inside so they don't get soggy and it doesn't make the stuffing soggy. So we're going to put them in the oven for 15 minutes at 300 degrees. And while they're baking, pre-baking, we're going to make the stuffing. And for the stuffing, on the recipe on my blog, I have 4 different stuffing options. This is a 5th one. So when you go on the blog for the recipe, you get 5 different choices of 5 different stuffings that you may want to use. So I have 2 cloves of garlic here, and I'm going to pop that into the pan. I minced that, it's fresh garlic. 1/2 cup of white onion, and 8 ounces of mushrooms. We're going to cook all of those first and get those onions to get all translucent and caramelized before we add the other ingredients. Now, if for some reason your vegetables begin to stick in the pan, which has not happened yet because mushrooms have a lot of water, if for some reason they stick, all you have to do is add a tiny bit of vegetable broth, or you can add some water to the pan and they'll release immediately. I didn't need to add any broth or anything because mushrooms have so much water and the onions, and you can see nothing is sticking and the onions are translucent. Now we're going to add 1 cup of summer squash, 1 cup of diced zucchini, and this stuff is growing out of my garden like crazy, so I have to come up with ways to use it. We're going to stir that in. Now, you don't want to cook the squash and the zucchini all the way because we're going to end up cooking it again in the oven inside the mushroom. So you don't want to cook it too much. Then we're going to add the spinach. And the spinach, once it starts getting hot, it's going to wilt. It's always a funny joke that you put a lot of spinach in something and it comes out a tiny little piece. That was 4 ounces of organic baby spinach. And then we're going to add 1/4 cup of vegan cream cheese. And I make my own from cashews, or you can use store-bought kind if you prefer. And we're gonna move that around in here with the vegetables, and it's going to melt. And bring it all together. Again, I did not have to add any of the vegetable broth. And once all the spinach is mixed in and it's all melted in there and everything is delicious, we're going to turn the heat off and wait for the mushrooms to be done pre-cooking. The mushrooms are out of the oven, and if you see a bunch of liquid in there and you want to get rid of that, in the center, I dumped the rest in the sink. This is just leftover. Okay, now we remove this from the heat. Now I have 3 cups of brown rice that I'm going to add to the mixture. And we're going to mix all of that around. The vegetables and the cream cheese mixture is all going to mix in. It's good to let it cool a little bit before you add it to the mushrooms so you don't burn your hands. And then helps when you have a spoon. Then we're going to fill the mushroom caps. So you want to fill it with a generous amount of the filling. Each mushroom cap. And then, once they're all full, we're going to turn the temperature up on the oven to 350 degrees. And what we're going to do is cook them the second time at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And if you want, these can also be made ahead of time. And you can, right after you stuff them, you can put them in the fridge. And then when you're ready to cook them the next day, you can do that. Or you can make the filling in advance. You want to get lots of filling in there. And you can serve this, I'm going to serve it with an avocado ranch drizzle that we're going to make while it's baking, and some asparagus on the side. We love asparagus. Okay, now we're going to put them in a 350 degree oven for 30 minutes. And in the meantime, while they're cooking, I'll teach you how to make an avocado ranch drizzle on top. While the mushrooms are cooking, I'm going to show you how to make an avocado ranch dressing. I plan to drizzle over the top of the mushrooms, and I'm going to use the rest of the dressing for a salad during the week. First, I have 3/4 cup of oat milk, and it needs to be unsweetened and unflavored. You can use any type of plant milk that you like. I just had oat milk, so I'm going to use that. And 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to add it to here, and I'm going to let it sit for a little bit, and it's going to become buttermilk or vegan buttermilk. And while I'm doing that, I want to serve asparagus with my portobello mushrooms. So I cut the ends off, and all I did was squirt it with a little lemon juice, and I put some garlic powder on top. And with 15 minutes left, I'm gonna pop these in the oven while my buttermilk is simmering. Okay, now we're gonna put the rest of the ingredients inside a blender. I have 1 avocado, and you just remove the flesh from inside and put it in the blender. Get the pit out of there. And obviously you want a avocado that's ripe. A good thing to do is when you buy avocados at the store, if they end up getting too ripe too quickly, you can throw them in the refrigerator and they last a few more days for you, just so you know. And then we need the juice of 1 lemon. Put that in there. Every last little bit of that lemon juice. And then you need 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And we also have dill and parsley, but I don't like to mix them in with it. I'm going to stir it in after so it remains a little chunky and gives it more flavor. And now I'm going to add my buttermilk that's been brewing there for a few minutes. Put the top on tight and let the magic happen. Once it's mixed, it looks like this. Now, if you want a thinner dressing, all you have to do is add more oat milk, or you can add water. Then I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of dill and a 1/4 cup of parsley that I chopped. And you're going to whisk it into the dressing. And then we're going to transfer this to a bowl and wait for the asparagus and the mushrooms to be ready. The mushrooms are out of the oven, as well as the asparagus. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this ranch and I'm going to drizzle it over the top of the mushrooms. We like it on the asparagus too. And then I'm going to garnish with a little parsley on top. And there you have summer vegetable stuffed portobello mushrooms and asparagus. I hope you enjoy. See you next time.